All praises to the Most High. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm teacher Hezekiah, LawLife Israelite School. Happy Feast of Purim. All praise to the Most High. See how the Most High has blessed us with a day. We had destruction of Nicanor, Nicanor, and then we got the Feast of Purim, overseeing all these St. Patrick days and donut days and all this crap that we have in this world. So all praise to the Most High. Tonight I'm gonna read tonight. I'm gonna read the book of Esther. And we're gonna cover the history of Purim. So I know it's late. I know some of you brothers and sisters, as myself, we gotta hit the plantation tomorrow, but it's all good. It's all good. We doing what the Most High asked us to do, told us to do, and that's to keep His laws, statutes, and commandments, rehearse these righteous acts. So that's what we're going to do tonight, and I'm going to read that. And if you have to doze off and go to sleep, all praise to the Most High. Wish you a feast, a happy feast, a joyful feast. And I'm going to just cover, like I said, I'm going to read the book of Esther tonight. We cover the Purim. I want to say something. I just want to state this. I see a lot of brothers, families keeping the Passover. We wish you brothers and sisters a happy Passover, that you keeping it now, rehearsing these righteous acts. You know, I went over class while we're keeping it when we're going to keep it, which is in April the 21st. And Lord's willing, when that time comes, brothers and sisters, they will push it to be correct with the seasons. But we wish you families a happy feast, Passover, wherever you are, whatever y'all doing. I saw a lot of pictures on Facebook and different families in California and Jacksonville, all over. Brothers and sisters are enjoying themselves. And the thing is, we're rehearsing these righteous acts. You know, so all praises to the Most High. We at LawLife, we don't do no hatred. We love the commandments. We love the commandments. We try to teach meekness and be humble. There'll never be I told you so, or we wiser than anybody else. So all praises to the Most High. Let's go to 1 Peter 2:2. 1 Peter 2:2. I ain't gonna run too much of your time up. As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. We sincerely rehearsing these righteous acts. We sincerely learning the ways of the Most High, returning back to Him, so we can get out of this captivity, so we can possibly make the kingdom. A lot of us ain't gonna make it. That can be including me. I'm not putting myself in that box as of yet, but I would love to be there, and I'm gonna do my dangness to get there. I'm gonna do my hard work to get there. And like a newborn baby, we're gonna sip on this milk. We're gonna get this understanding. And you brothers and sisters, I guarantee you, if you desire to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, the Most High will give you that understanding. He will grant you that understanding. And all you have to do is start reading. You just don't know how simple the process is. If you read and take the time, your spare time that you just sitting around, get your Bible, read it. Read something. I know a lot of y'all get confused. Oh, I got to go precept upon precepts are laws. That's what a precept is. Go look up the definition of it. Start searching. Start looking. Start sipping this milk. And don't get choked off how you see everybody else doing things. Go read these scriptures. And the Most High will give you that understanding. He will give it to you. Let's go to Amos 3 right quick. Just reading. The Most High show you this, then you'd be like, wow, I didn't even know that. Or if somebody been told you wrong, and Most High give you the proper understanding. That don't mean you have to go boasting. It's all good. It's all good. Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up out of the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. And the Most High, He referred us to family. And that's what we got to get to, Israel. We got to get to that family state of mind, nation state of mind. Then it won't be all this bickering. about simple foolishness, about, oh, they doing it this. And that's why we did the class. It wasn't to prove anybody wrong or anything on the new year, just to show you with the understanding the Most High gave us. And hey, it's on you. Do what you got to do. But if you rehearsing these righteous acts, all praise to the Most High. We ain't got, brothers, y'all got to stop all that petty bickering over simple things. The Most High gonna show you what He want to show you, and you're gonna do as you please. And that's where we have to humble ourselves. Humble ourselves. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 9 and 22. I'm gonna get into the feast. I just want to cover this because this is what we got to get to. We got to get to that humble state of mind as a nation. And until we get there, it's gonna always be some petty mess out here. And people gonna look at us, when we gonna become that wise nation that the heathens and these other nations supposed to look at us as? When we become humble enough to do what this Bible say, the book of the law says, plainly. We ain't got to add to it. We don't have to take away from it. So we're going to 1 Corinthians 9, and I'm going to read verse 22. Verse 9 and 22. To the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. Sometimes we have to just come on that playing field just to help save our brothers and sisters. We ain't got to say, oh, I'm wiser than this. I know this. You wrong. You this. Just show the brothers the scriptures. Show the sisters the scriptures. Sometimes you got to be weak. You might know everything. Well, it may think you know everything. But sometimes you got to know what? I'm going to just tone down. Because sometimes they come off as arrogant. They come as prideful. They come off as boasting. Just to save some. Sometimes you got to drop that. And what we dropping down to? Humility, meekness. Hey, it is what it is. Just keep the commandments. That's all we got to do. That's what we're going to get in the kingdom by doing, keeping these commandments. Let's go to Judges 5 and 11. Then I'm going to get into Esther. I'm going to get into Esther. And like I said, go read it. You brothers and sisters who got children, why y'all don't read these scriptures to your children like a bedtime story? You know, the heck with Little Red Riding Hood, whatever her name, and the Three Little Bears and all that crap. Let's read the scriptures. Some great stories in there. Great stories. I'm going to Judges 5 and 11, then I'm going to get to the Feast of Purim. Feast of Purim. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, when we deliver from the destruction over here in our servitude, or wherever the Most High got us scattered. We're scattered on the four corners of this earth, brothers and sisters. We got family all over the world. And there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. We got to be rehearsing. And in rehearsal, you're going to make mistakes. Until it's showtime, when the Messiah come back, Yahushua returns, Christ, our Lord and Savior, when the Most High sent him, it's showtime then. So we better get our act together. And what's that righteous acts? These law, statutes, and commandments. Keep them. Don't force nobody to do them. You just warn them, show them, give them the understanding if you got it, and keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. Be at peace. It's time for some peace. We need some peace in our life. I don't know about y'all. I like peace. I like quiet. I like feasts. And you brothers and sisters who convocating together right now on Feast of Purim, happy feast to you, brothers and sisters. And those who tuned in, happy feast to you. And I'm gonna say this too. You may not see no Happy New Year's and all that when the month of Abib come in, beginning of our month. I'm trying to get away, just trying to be peculiar. Because we be starting to look like these heathen with Happy Easter, Happy New Year, all this crap. And if you do it, I ain't saying it's a sin, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just me, myself, is trying to trying to just come another route. Let's be Israel in another way. Peaceful. Hey, the new year is here. Let's keep it pushing. Let's keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, we're going to the book of Esther in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Esther. Book of Esther, and I'm going to read. You carry on, y'all eat, you drink, be merry. If you hear me in the background, I'm reading to you tonight. Read along with Hezekiah tonight on the Feast of Purim. Excuse me. Esther chapter 1. Now it came to pass in all the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. So this king, he ruled 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which is in Shushan, the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and all his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and in the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days. So he put down a feast. Y'all talking about feasting. This king did some feasting. He put something together. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple and silver strings, pillars of marble, and the beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. So just picture that. That sounds beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Start reading this stuff to your kids and making that imagination come to life so they can see these scriptures come to life. So this king was putting on a great feast. Now he was doing this for all the people of his kingdom. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another. Diverse, that means different from one another, and raw wine in abundance according to the state of the king, and the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. So he told them, hey, make sure my guests are enjoying themselves. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehumum, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abatha, Zephtha, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king, with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. So the king asked his chamberlains, bring forth my wife. I want them to see my beautiful wife. And we know how we do. We dog. I don't want to digress. I'm going to keep it joyful. I'm going to keep it joyful. But stop dogging our women out. These heathens put his wife out there, making her look good. We want to shun our women. Come on, brothers. Step it up. We Israel. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. She said, I ain't coming. And he got mad, got mad. And, brothers will compare this to our sisters today. Nah, don't do that. There was some more heathen stuff. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew the law, new law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shephtha, Amatha, Tarshish, Miri, Messina, and Muinimu, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat at the first in his kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law? because she had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlain. So they said, what we supposed to do? She didn't obey the king's commandment. She didn't come when he asked for her. And Mumakan answered before the king and the princes. Vashti, the queen, had not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all in the, excuse me, turn the page, in the provinces. So they were saying, hey, she didn't just do the king wrong, she shamed us. She shamed all the people. Just imagine. That's just like when people are expecting us to do something and we don't do it. You know, people get disappointed, you know, and don't make no promises you can't keep. But she was asked to come do something and she didn't do it. Promises of King Ahasuerus. For this deed, the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not. So she said, see, she putting a bad example out here. So all these other women gonna do their husband the same way if she's allowed to get away with this. And that also a lesson to you sisters. You gotta be a great example. Brothers, we gotta be a great example, or we'll set bad examples and lead our people astray, which right now we're in the midst of a bunch of crap due to examples that we're leading our people in. Verse 18, likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard the deed of the queen. Thus shall there rise too much contempt and wrath. They're gonna try to do the same thing, is what they were saying. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the Jews of the Persians and Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So you know what they say, you know what? We know what we're gonna do. We're gonna take that crown from her. You're gonna give it to another woman. So you let you know you're not irreplaceable. You can be replaceable. And just like us in this truth, if we don't come with meekness and humbleness and sincerity and love and charity and keep these laws, statutes, commandments, the Most High can move you out the way also and put somebody else in that position to do his business. So we can learn from these mistakes, even what these heathens have made. Verse 20, and when the king's decree which he shall make shall be punished throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. So they send an example. Hey, this what happened, this what's gonna happen to you. So, you know, sometimes that's why these laws are out here for the Most High. And that's why a lot of times when we disobeyed the Most High, we went into captivity. But like children, you go to Deuteronomy, I'm just digressing a little bit. You go to Deuteronomy, when we had these unruly kids and just disrespectful, that was put to death. Nowadays, you can't even whoop their behinds because laws are set where they call that abuse. But it's a way you can do things. And that's keep these laws, statutes, commandments, and the Most High guides you in that way. I'm back to the story. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Mumakan, I'm sorry. So he agreed to what they came up with to take the crown from Queen Vashti. For he sent letters into all the king provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, into every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. So it was people speaking different languages, just like you have here in America. It's funny. But anyway, but they put this decree out. Hey, you women, you gotta submit to your husbands. Obey your husbands. Don't do like Queen Vashti. That was a bad example. We got the Bible to tell us that. That's why you gotta read. You gotta read. That's why you brothers gotta allow your sisters, your wives, to read these scriptures, because they need to learn these laws, statutes, and commandments for their salvation also. Can't be saved by us. Hey, we only know we gonna make it. Chapter 2. After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servant that ministered to him, let there be fair women, fair young virgins sought for the king. So now they finna find a king another wife. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegi, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. So they're going to grab these women and they're going to bring them in and prove them, going to get them ready for the king so he can choose whom he wants. And let the maiden which, and no, brothers, this is a heathen tactic. We wasn't doing that. We weren't lining our women up and say, I'm going to pick which one I'm going to do. Go through the purification and all that. A lot of us brothers, we'll intertwine this right here into picking wives, line them up and do a lottery pick draft for women, which is crazy. But anyway, verse 4. I'm in chapter 2, verse 4. And let the maiden which pleased the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. So here's Mordecai, an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, who Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. So Mordecai came into captivity in Babylon during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. So Esther, Hebrew name was Hadassah. It wasn't Esther. It was changed. Just like you go to Daniel, their names was changed in that stories. Just like today, we got heathen names or names after our slave masters and all that crap, who had been carried away from Jerusalem. No, I'm at verse 7, sorry. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So this was his uncle's daughter. So this was his cousin, Mordecai's cousin. Esther and Mordecai was cousins because it was his uncle's daughter, and she lost her mother and father. So he took her on as his own. He took care of her. We don't even do that. Look at our people out here today. Some of them came and stay with their own family members. But that's another story. But this is where we can learn from this. We can learn a lesson from these things here. Which her father died, and she was a beautiful woman. Verse 8, so it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace to the custody of Hagi, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house to custody of Hagi, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. So Esther got some special treatment. The Most High put the spirit on these people to treat her kindly, and she got the best place in the house. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, and she didn't let them know who she were. That's how a lot of y'all got to do that at your workplace sometimes. Sometimes you ain't got to run around, I'm Israel, I'm Judah, I'm this. Keep your mouth quiet. You got to be wise as a serpent, innocent as a dove. Because as soon as people go Google Israelites, this, that, and the third, they see some of these brothers is out here in these streets cussing and doing all this madness, then they looking at you the same way and like, oh, we got to get rid of this person, or this person's they part of a hate group and all this madness. So you got to be wise sometimes. Just tell them, hey, I'm a Christian. I just do what the Bible say. Simple. That's just a little advice from me. Verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. Mordecai advised her, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Don't tell them who you are, who you with, where you from. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. Now, when every maid's turn was come to go to the king Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil and myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, with other things for purifying of the women. These women was taking baths. So, brothers and sisters, make sure you be bathing. Just a little something out there. Verse 13. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whatsoever she desired was given her, to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women to the custody of HEZEKIAH, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. So she had to go where the concubines were, and the only way she can come amongst the king unless he called for her. Now I'm at verse 15. Now the reason I'm reading this, just to give you just to read it while y'all enjoying y'all Purim feast, read along. If you're listening, like I say, you can go back to this video if you choose. We're just covering the history of Purim, and I'm going to get there soon. Verse 15. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken for his daughter, was come to go into the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that look upon her. Most High make heathens be nice to us. That's why you got a lot of these heathens that may be cool with you, but the Most High put the spirit on them. Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into the house royal in the 10th month, which is a month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight, more than all the virgins, so that she set the royal crown upon her head. So that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. So Esther became the queen. Now, it's a moral behind this story. We get in these certain positions. Most High put you in certain positions to help your people. But some of us get so prideful and arrogant that we forget about our people. You see it every day in this world, whether it's politicians, entertainers, athletes, people with good jobs, whatever. We'll feel we got a little more than our people. We look down on them. We shun on them. And Most High put you in that place for a reason. But that's another thing. Verse 18, then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the province and gave gifts according to the estate of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat at the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as which she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat at the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlain, Bigthan and Teresh of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. So Mordecai overheard these two guys who oversee, who's the bodyguard security for the king. They was mad, so they was plotting against the king to do some harm. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. So he told Queen Esther, hey, these dudes plotting against the king to do this, that, and the third. She related to the king, but she told her, hey, Mordecai heard this. You know, gave him the props for telling. And it's funny. This was a heathen now. I do that in another class. Verse 23. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they both were hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of Chronicles before the king. So they was put to death. Chapter 3. After these things did Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Amminadab, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. So he got this new guy, which was an Edomite, an Agagite. We'll go over this history too, because I'm going to use these scriptures in a class that's coming up soon. The Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he him reverence. Mordecai went bowing down. The Most High tells us not to bow down. You don't treat no man like he's some god. And you know, a lot of y'all be bowing down to these people and all this crap. Hey, you're gonna have to deal with the Most High with it. But anyway, then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? They said, why you ain't bowing down, man? What's up? They cooning. Why you ain't bowing down for Master Charlie? Verse 4. Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman, and to see whether Mordecai his matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. Hey man, this Jew, he ain't bowing down to you. He ain't coming in there saluting you like that. So they went and snitched and told. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. So Haman got mad at Mordecai for not bowing down to him and giving him reverence, cooning toward it. Mordecai was no coon. He didn't bow down to no man. He served the Most High, and that's a lesson we have to learn also. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. So he wanted to fight Mordecai. He wanted to put hands on him. He wanted to kill him. Then they said he a Jew. So now he mad at all the people of Israel, all the Jews. And that's how they do. That's how we get stereotyped. People, that's why I told you. People, y'all get Google and they see them, they're going to be mad. They're going to be mad at all of us. That's how they are. Verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur. They cast pur. That is the lot. Pur means lot. They cast lot. They was like, we're gonna cast a lot. We're gonna do like a voting type thing. Cast lot before Haman from day to day, and from month to month to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. Which is an example. When you got people say, oh, we can't keep the commandments, we can't keep the holidays, this, that, and the third, we in captivity. They was in captivity, and they was keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments in the midst of their captivity. So that'd be a cop-out for people not want to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. So the scriptures have proved you wrong right there. Keep these laws. If it please the king, I'm at verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. So he's campaigning that we be put to death, because we didn't want to do that, bowing down to them, because we over here keeping our feast days that the Most High set up, new moons and Passovers and all that. They get mad. They ain't doing what you say, king. Haters. Hating. That's all it is. That's what they do when they see people at peace. And that's how we do as a people too. We'll see people at peace, and we want to disrupt that peace. And we got to stop being like that, Israel. Stop being like the heathen. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hand of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasury. So every time I pay for them to get put to death. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Amenetha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. He was our enemy. Man, this is going to be a good class coming after this one. Verse 11, and the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, and the people also, to do with them as it seemed good to thee. So he didn't got into the king's ear. Hey, do as you please with him. I don't care. Go ahead. Go ahead. And that's how they do with us today. Go ahead. We don't care. Shoot them down in the street. They go to these Trump rallies. Go on and kick them out. Do whatever you want to and beat them up. That's how these people still treat us. It's a perpetual hatred that they have for us. That's why we got to show some love towards one another. Everybody else hate our guts. When we gonna love? That's why we need to love one another. Excuse me. Verse 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of the king was it written and sealed with the king's ring. So they put out this decree to destroy us. That decree still goes on today in the spirit. They put out everything to destroy us as a people. Our diet, the foods that we eat. Man, I mean, just even television, how we turn on one another, killing each other over Jordans and red and blue colors. And it's a shame. Now we fighting over Bible scriptures. It's ridiculous. Excuse me. Verse 13. And the letters went sent by post unto all the king's provinces. Hey, they had posts back then, like postmen, like the post office. Y'all thought that was new. That ain't new. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all the Jews. They was talking about killing us, man, putting us to death. Both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Dar, and take the spoil of them for the prey. So they was looking to kill us all in one day, man. Massacre us. It's deep. See, men, children, like the Most High put in Deuteronomy, he'll send a nation of fierce countenance, and they won't care for our young or our old. Still today, they don't care about what some woman 80 or 90 some years old, they kicked in her door, wrong warrant. They was busting in her house. They don't care. They kill us, man. Young or old children. Look at the abortions. They put it in your head, kill that baby. You have the pleasure, but you can't take care of the responsibility. They don't care. That stuff that's still spiritually still going on today. The copy of the writing for a commandment, verse 14, I'm in chapter 3. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people that they should be ready against that day. Now they got everybody turned against us in their provinces. Think about it, it was different people there. Different languages was spoken, just like today. Everybody got this decree, kill them. Point us out, because we stood out. We're supposed to be a peculiar people. That's why we don't stand out today. We don't seem peculiar. We blend in. Peculiar people. Kill them. Verse 15. The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given to Shushan, the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink and put the city Shushan, but the city Shushan was perplexed. It was confusion. It was going down, man. It was for to put us to death. Chapter 4. And I'll get to that later. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry, and came even upon the king's gate for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. He stood before the gates crying, like pleading, what's going on? In every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. See, that's how we do also as a people. When it to go down on us, we get afflicted, that's when we humble ourselves. That's why we got to always be at a humble state sometimes, really, all the time. Don't wait until affliction comes to humble yourself. But at this period of time, they had to humble themselves. They rent their clothes. They just, hey, Most High, we need you. Fasting. And there's a lot of things that we can do. We need to fast. Like I said, let's not fast for a school building, fasting for a house or whatever. Let's fast to get these wicked spirits out of our people. Let's fast for some love and kindness among each other. Let's do that. Verse 4. So Esther maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai and to take away the sackcloth from him, but he received it not. She sent her cousin some clothing. He didn't accept that. I don't need, right now, I don't care about all that. We won't do that because we care about materialistic things these days. That brother, like, my people is distressed. We about to be put to death. I don't care about them, Joe. I don't care about that Gucci. I don't care about this. I don't want it. I need the Most High. And that's what we need. We need the Most High. Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hattic, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So you want to know what's going on? I need you to go talk to Mordecai and bring me back some information on what's going on. So Hattic went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasury for the Jews to destroy them. Dude, they put out a bounty against us. Put a bounty out. I give you this, king, you let me kill them. We kill ourselves for free. We'll kill ourselves for free. Verse 8. Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given to Shushan to destroy them, and to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him and make a request before him for her people. You need to go tell her what's going on and tell her she need to go talk to the king. Now it's time to let her know who you are. Your people need you. And then our leaders today, our so-called leaders today, our people in these great positions financially, or just able to help you even get a better job. We will look down on each other, man. We don't look at that opportunity as a way to help our people. And you gotta get it like I got it. That's a bunch of crap. Bunch of crap. I'm gonna continue on. Verse 9. And Hattak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hattak and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king unto the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. Go tell Mordecai I can't go there. The king gonna kill me. That's how we won't go out here to these streets and talk to our people, because we figure they're gonna not be our friends no more. I can't do this because they're gonna talk about me. They're gonna do this, that, and the third. Worry about what the Most High gonna do to you. And that's what she worried about, what some man was gonna do to him when thinking about her people. Verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's word. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. Don't think that you ain't gonna get punished. You a Jew too. They got a decree to kill all of us. Don't think because you over there in the big house, we down here in the little houses, that you ain't gonna get put out and killed. That's the decree. Kill them all. Don't be thinking about yourself. And that's what we do a lot. We just worry about ourselves. We don't worry about our people as a whole. Verse 14, for if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. If you don't do it, the Most High gonna bring somebody else. Just like I always tell the brothers with us, hey, if we don't go out here and be humble, be that good example to our people, Most High gonna move us out of the way. He gonna put somebody else in that place. Go over here and keep doing this foolishness that's been going on for years and years. It ain't got us nowhere. He put you in a position. You better use that position to help your people. Deal with your people. From another place, but thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed, and who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? You're gonna be destroyed too. But this is why the Most High put you here. This is why you was put in this place to save your people. Just throughout the scriptures, our people was set to do a certain thing. The Most High already, he got it all mapped out. It's already mapped out. That's why we don't need to take away from or add to it. Just do what he say. Verse 15, then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded. She said, go fast, pray for me. And we need to do that for each other. We might have brothers and sisters going through things. We stop worrying about yourself. Pray for your brothers and sisters. Even the brothers and sisters that we see in the midst of this wickedness and all this pride and all this mud. Pray for the brothers. That's all we can do. Pray for the sisters. Pray for them. That's all you can do. And she said, you know what? I'm gonna go to this king. If I die, I die. Living sacrifice. Romans 12, 1 through 2. I'm gonna go and read that soon. But I'm gonna continue to read this story so I won't be too much longer. Verse chapter 5. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And he asked her what it was. He accepted her. He loved Esther. So he asked, what you want, babe? And what is thy request? And it shall be given to thee in the half of the kingdom. He said it will be given to thee to the half of the kingdom. But we won't give our wives nothing. Be over there in that sackcloth all the time. This man was willing to give half the kingdom. What you want, baby? He done been an example for y'all brothers. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. I want you and Haman to come to this banquet. See, she finna set it up. She finna set it up. Verse 5. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther has said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed. He asked, what you want? Hey, what you need? What can I do for you? Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them. And I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with glad heart. Now Haman, all the king, the queen invited me. I'm going to ball with the king now. A lot of our people, that's how we be doing. I'm going to the ball. Then when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Mordecai still ain't bowing to this dude. He got even mad. Like, this dude, him, I don't put out a decree to kill him. He still ain't cooning for me. You got to stop cooning, brothers, sisters. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself. And when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh, his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him and how he had advanced him above the princes in the service of the king. This is the spirit on a lot of us. We get these certain positions, you know, your managers, your supervisors, or whatever you tell everybody, they see what I got, see what I did, boasting. That's what he went and did. Verse 12. Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself. And tomorrow I am invited unto her also with the king. The queen, she invited me in, just me and the king, nobody else. He just think he got it. She's setting him up. Don't even know it. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting in the king's gate. But yet Mordecai getting on that nerve, just like us. When they see they can put you through all kind of stuff, yet you stay steadfast in these laws, statutes, and commandments. You stay steadfast in doing what the Most High say. They get mad and mad and mad. And that's what you have to do, brothers and sisters. Just do what the Most High tell you to do. Don't worry about what nobody else got to say. Don't break. Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused a gallows to be made. Look at the wife then told him, baby, hang it. You know how they do us. I mean, somebody quick to put us on a tree, nooses. They did us like that for years. Still doing it today. On that night, I'm gonna read a little. I'm gonna get to the feast here soon. I'm gonna let y'all go and read the rest of this, but I want to finish this out right here because it's getting late. I don't want to go too far in. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthan. Make sure I ain't skipped too far here. I might have went too far. Turn the page too far. No, I'm in chapter 6. I'm sorry. So the king couldn't sleep. So he said, they were building this gallows to hang Mordecai. He couldn't sleep on this note. He said, bring me the book of the records. So you need to get some history. I need some refreshing. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered unto them, there is nothing done for him. What we do for Mordecai for saving me, for giving me that information what was going on? We ain't do that. So, and the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to spake unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? So he thought he was talking about him. And Haman answered the king, for a man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought, which the king uses to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let his apparel and his horse be delivered to the hand of the one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal, whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor. So he telling, he just putting on brown nose. This is what you should do. This would be great. Then the king said unto Haman, make haste to take the apparel and the horse, and thou shalt, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Oh, I know his face cracked in. I want you to go do what you just recommended. Go get Mordecai, do it to him. Then to Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. So see how the Most High just made him a footstool to Mordecai. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house, mourning and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be the seed of the Jews before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains and hastened to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared. They said, now you did that dish that pit that y'all did for people, y'all will fall in it. Same thing with Haman. That same thing he set up to do to him, he gonna fall in it. Verse chapter 7. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day of the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. She said, let my life be given and my people. So she been letting them know who my people are. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we have been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then King Ahasuerus answered and said unto King Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? Who is this one to destroy my wife's people? Where he at? And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of the wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of the palace garden in the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed where Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in this house? They're trying to plead with the queen, and he disrespecting the king. You gonna talk to me and handle my wife like that in my house in front of me? Taking up for his wife. And he was a king. Anyway, then the king returned out of verse 9. I'm sorry. Verse 8. Then the king said, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. So the same thing he tried to set Mordecai to be killed on, he was put to death on. That's why we got to watch what we do. Watch what you do, people. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews' enemies unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. So he let her know, this is my cousin. Mordecai is my cousin. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. So she still pleaded, but he got this decree out here to kill the rest of my people. So she pleading with the king. The king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I find favor in his sight, and the things seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces. Could you reverse that decree that he put out to kill my people? For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? See how the passion and the love that our forefathers and foremothers had for the people, not just certain people, all the people of Israel. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as is liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then, so he told him, go write the decree. Can't nobody reverse it when it's sealed with that ring. Then were the king's scribes called at that time, and the third month, that is the month seven, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and to the deputies, and the rulers in the provinces, which from India to Ethiopia, and 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote to the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on the horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, and to destroy, and to slay, to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and take the spoil of them for prey. So he told them, y'all stand up for yourselves, Jews. That's what we have to do as a people. It's time to stand up for ourselves. Show that we are the people of the Most High. Show that we are the people of the Most High. So that's where he put the decree out. Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, which we are at now, the 12th month, the month of Adar, the 13th day, the copy of the writing for the commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. It's time to stand up, brothers and sisters, and keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, because vengeance is the Most High. At that time, they was able to fight back. Y'all don't go out there trying to fight no police and all that mess. Verse 14, so the post that rode upon mules and camels went out, being fastened, hastened, and pressed on, and by the king's commandment, and the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king commanded. And his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. What's so funny about right there? That's why you got these fake Jews out here. You have people, they became Jews. They converted, trying to be like us, because they were scared of us. That's why you got these so-called Jewish people out here. These Edomites talking about they Jews, because they were so afraid of us. So they had to they try to be like us. And let me get to, but that's why we have the Feast of Purim, because we was able to stand up for ourselves. That decree to destroy us was reversed, and we was able to stand up for ourselves, and our people was joyful. They was able to fight back and overtake them. So I'm gonna skip. Let me get in here. Let me go up to, I'm going to chapter 9, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. So Haman's sons, his family got put to death. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day, also the month of Dar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they laid not their hand. They didn't want the spoils. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, on the 14th day, and on the 14th day, because we do it 2 days. Purim, we observe it twice, 2 days, the 13th and the 14th day of the month of Adar. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. So I pray you brothers and sisters are having a joyful time, enjoying your feast, and looking back at this history. If you didn't understand what I was reading, go read it for yourself. Go read this to your children. Read it for your own history. Read it so you can get some knowledge and understanding of what Purim was all about, and how we looked after our people. Verse 18, but the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same day, they rested and made it the day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the village that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month of Dar and the day of gladness and feasting and good day, and sending portions to one another. So what they were doing, they were sending food to one another. Portions. Here, feasting. Y'all have a good time. Have a good time. We got to get to a point where we can do that to our people. Instead of asking for stuff, let's send stuff to our people. You know, I know today some people use gifts. If you want to give a gift, that's on you. That's on you. It ain't, hey. But they was giving portions to one another. We don't have to say, I ain't gonna get into that. Just do it. Have fun on the Purim. I say that. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters to all the Jews that were in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month of Dar and the 15th day of the same yearly. So I apologize. Let me back up a little bit, because I may have said the 13th day earlier. But it's the 14th day and the 15th day of the month of Adar that we do it yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. Gifts to the poor. Portions. Oh man, that's love, man. That's love for our people. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. So that's where you get the Pur from, Purim. It was cast of lots. He put a bounty out to get us killed. They put out a decree to get us put us to death. I'm about to finish up. Brothers and sisters. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that this wicked device which he devised against the Jews should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons shall be hanged on the gallows. So, brothers and sisters, if you wishing evil upon any other brothers and sisters, the Most High gonna put that recompense on you. Don't do that. Don't have that spirit on you. Pray for your brothers and sisters. Keep it pushing. Keep it moving. Wherefore, they call these days Purim, after the name of pure, and that is casting lots. Therefore, all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail that they would keep these days 2 days according to their writing, according to their appointed time every year. Because this is not a high holy day. This is not a day that the Most High enforced or ordained. It was us. We did it because we was pleased that we was able to save ourselves. That decree was turned to destroy us. It was turned for we can have joy and peace and feasting. So we decreed to do this. That's why you can cook. That's why some of us still had to go to work. We're going to work tomorrow. You can still shop and buy. Buy and do whatever. Not whatever, but it's not a Sabbath day. Let me say that. Let me just make that clear. It's not a Sabbath day where you can't cook or you can't go to work. You can do this as a day of joy and feasting. All right? And we're doing it 2 days, and it started tonight and evening. Verse 28, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim shall not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. So where we scatter on the four corners of this earth, us Israelites should be keeping the day of Purim, the days of Purim, in remembrance and memorial of what the day the Most High actually saved us through using Esther and Mordecai. We should have remembrance of that. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim, and and he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according to Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fasting and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it is written in the book. It is written in the book. And that's why it's important to go read your history. Read about your forefathers and your foremothers. Don't always just count on what somebody else is saying. Go read it for yourself. I guarantee you'll enjoy and you will learn something. And you'll learn the essence. We won't be so vain with these days that we keep it. You'll know the meaning and what's behind it and why it was done. That's why it's important to go read for yourselves. Read for yourselves. So we're going to close out. I'm not breaking bread, but we're going to close out. We're going to Matthew chapter 26. And I pray that you brothers and sisters, like I said, wherever you are keeping the feast of Purim. And some already kept it. Hey, I hope they enjoyed themselves when they did. All praise to the Most High. We rehearsing these righteous acts. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? Christ was sitting down eating. The rest, him and his disciples, the sister came, poured this ointment upon his head, anointing him with this oil, and they was wondering why she wasting this precious ointment. For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. We could have sold this and gave it to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she have wrought a good work upon me. Why y'all bothering this sister? She did a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. You're going to always have the poor with you. But me, I'm going to be crucified. I'm not going to be here with y'all always. For in that she had poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. She was preparing Christ for his burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her. So every time this gospel come out, this good news, this history coming from these scriptures come out, you must be reminded of what this sister did by anointing Christ and preparing him for his burial. With that, brothers and sisters, I pray that you have a joyful and peaceful feast of Purim. And I'm going to make one more statement. We still going to stand firm on these laws, statutes, and commandments here at LawLife Israelite School. So, hey, we don't hate nobody. We pray everybody is having a joyful Passover or whatever everybody in the midst of. But when it comes to these laws, statutes, and commandments, we're going to stay firm on it, and we're going to always go against evil. With that, I say shalom.